Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to give you my thoughts on Mission Impossible and Mission Impossible 2. And that's right, we're going to be covering the first two Mission Impossible films, which came out in 1996 and 2000, and of course starred Tom Cruise. Of course, the first film being directed by, excuse me. Yep. Anyway, the first film being directed by Brian De Palma, and of course the second film being directed by John Woo. Two pretty contrasting directors with their approaches to films in general and this franchise. I have the Blu-ray 5 movie collection of the first 5, anyway, Mission Impossible films, so I just need to get Fallout, and I know they're working on the 7th one right now. Pretty cool little set, though, and I only got it for like $15-20 at Target, so. Now I've never, previously I've never been the biggest, Tom Cruise fan. That was always kind of my brother's thing. And it hasn't helped with, the Scientology, shit and stuff like that, so I'm not going to really comment on him personally. But in terms of on-screen talent, I've been trying to give him more of a chance over the past, year or so. I watched Risky Business, which I didn't review, but I like that one alright. I'd seen some of his films in passing over the years, but I wanted to give him more of a serious look, for whatever the reason, I guess. And, I figure being the action genre fan that I am, I should start with the obvious. Like I said, I think I had seen 2 and 3, maybe a little bit of at one point. But never in full, and never with my actual, refined, film viewing mind I have now, right? But I gotta say, I really enjoyed the hell out of both of these films. Probably, it's hard to categorize the first film simply as just an action film, but it is, I guess. So probably two of, I love a lot of these sorts of films. So if I say one's in my top 50 even, or even my top 30, that's a big credit. Okay. Two of probably some of my favorite action movies now. At least again within that 20-30 range, I'd say. Very, very different though. You kind of get just a different type of satisfaction from each of them. The first film was very much kind of a spy espionage action-ish thriller, except Tom Cruise, his character never fires a gun in the movie. There's a little bit. By the way, I'm just going to clear this up. I don't want to talk too much about politics, but I knew this would show on camera at some point. I'm not going to dive into it, but this is an anti-Trump shirt. I just want to make sure that's known. Anti. I do not like Donald Trump. I hate Donald Trump. White bread full of bologna with Russian dressing and a small pickle. Okay, just to clear that up. Don't want to dive into it, but I don't want anyone thinking I support that guy either. So, anyway, back to the movie talk. We all need a little bit more, action movie discussion as opposed to, political in this current climate anyway. I really enjoyed both films, and I apologize for the light. I gotta do something about that, but I really enjoyed both films, and I do think the second film has more of a rewatchability factor. It's a little bit more of an easier one to just kind of pop in and watch, so I guess it can be more of a casual viewing. Now that can't mean a lot to someone, as a fan, but, it is just that, kind of simpler type of film. The first film, again, like I said, is more spy espionage type. It's a little bit more refined. It's kind of main credit I can give it is not its action, which is, fine when it happens, but it's, suspense, and it's, kind of thought put into it. In fact, the most engaging scene in the movie is just when Tom Cruise is sitting across from a guy, having a conversation, putting the pieces together. That, I think, is one of the most brilliant scenes in the movie. And I also enjoyed the start of it, because you have characters like, Emilio Estevez introduced, John Voight, a few others. And then Tom Cruise's team, Ethan Hunt's team, is, kind of picked off systematically one by one during this operation they're doing. So I thought that actually really brought in that sense of, desperation. Okay, what the fuck is going on that they were going for? And Tom Cruise did a really nice job acting-wise in this movie. I'll give it to him. You can see it in that same scene I told you about where he's just putting the pieces together, and you can see his paranoia, the way his eyes look and everything. And nicely done. Nicely done. There is like a helicopter. There's a finale. It gets a little bit too big for the sort of movie it was prior. I think it does look a little bit dated CG wise. You know, it involves a helicopter that like holds it back a tiny bit for me, but it's honestly, that part's honestly disposable. It doesn't really weigh down the movie too much in the long run for me. So yeah, I really did love the hell out of the first Mission Impossible movie. Like I said already, Tom Cruise did a really nice job. Jon Voight, I liked Emmanuelle Beer. I can't pronounce her name, but she played Claire. Ving Rhames. I'm a big fan of Jean Reno, especially in The Professional, and he was one of the only good things about the '98 Godzilla movie. He's kind of an overlooked actor. But yeah, I really enjoyed the first film. The second film, directed by John Woo. Like I said, it's very different. You kind of lose what you got out of the first one. And the action is over the top. Kind of some. They're kind of going for like a James Bond type of thing, I think. And they kind of made Ethan Hunt more of a playboy sort of character, more of a comic booky type. It's kind of like the first. Die Hard in comparison to the rest of the series. In the first Die Hard, John McClane is just more of like an average Joe, or at least more of a realistic type of guy. But then it's like the second one's okay with it too, I guess. But like later in the series, he becomes more comic booky, what he survives and what he can do and everything, what he can pull off. What stunts he does and such. And that's kind of what happens to Ethan Hunt. And the second film is where that starts happening in the Mission Impossible series. Because there's a lot of like really overly done car chases and everything, but they're exciting to watch. There's a really good, cool motorcycle chase, towards the finale, and I have to say one of the best hand-to-hand final fight scenes or hand-to-hand scenes I've watched in any action film in a long, long time between Tom Cruise and Dougray Scott. And Tom Cruise, it seemed like he did most of his own work, which he usually does, and that's something I can admire about him. He really does put in, at least from his personal end, his A game into pretty much everything he does. And you can see he's doing all these kicks, and I'm impressed, honestly. It took a little bit of time for me to get used to the hair, though. I will say that. Dougray Scott made for a decent villain, I thought. A little more shallow than the plot in the first film, but I thought he worked well enough. Anthony Hopkins does have a small role in it, and it's very, very puzzling why they got the great Anthony Hopkins, an actor as renowned as him, for 2, maybe 3 scenes in the whole movie, and then they never bring him back again in the franchise. I thought he could have been a good fit, and he was good in the scenes he had. I don't know, I thought he could have been like their go-to guy, or their leader of sorts, or at least one that would give them the missions for the rest of the series. I think that would have worked. Or at least for a couple more. I don't know. Oh well. I think they're both fine after that. So yeah, the one thing I didn't care for in the second film, again, the plot's a little more kind of big sci-fi, James Bond kind of, threat that's going on. It was still, entertaining enough for what it was. There's a bit of a love story here between, Tom Cruise's character and Thandie Newton's Naya, who didn't do a bad job acting-wise, but I could have just done without her character entirely, honestly. Also, Richard Ruxburgh was in this movie, who I think is an underrated actor as well. Good to see him. Dominic Purcell is there if you squint. So yeah, I honestly really enjoyed Mission Impossible 2. Again, I kind of look on the first film a little bit more legitimately in a way, but what film would I be more likely to rewatch again? At least more often. Maybe the second one. It's just a little more accessible. So again, they're both pretty highly regarded for me for different reasons. I'd give the first film like a 9.1, 9.3 out of 10. I'd give the second film anywhere from like an 8.7 to 9.2 out of 10, just depending on how I'm feeling. Or 8.5 to 9.2, I don't know. So yeah, letting you guys slab about both of these, and without spoilers, where do all the films rank for you? So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, like, subscribe, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.